everybody, it's Sara. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm coming at you with a book haul. So as always, it has been a little while since I've done my last book haul, but I've accumulated some books in the last couple of months and I'm excited to share all of them with you all today. So I've got a few new books, like I said, and I also went to the library yesterday and I picked up a couple. So without any further ado, let's just dive right into this. So the first book that I want to talk about is honestly probably out of all of the new ones that I got, the one that I'm the most excited about, and that book is Lore Olympus Volume 1 by Rachel Smythe. In case you haven't heard me talking about this book, which would really surprise me if you've been following me here for a while, this is basically a Greek mythology retelling that mainly focuses on the myth of Hades and Persephone, and it's just absolutely amazing. It's cute and funny and dramatic, and the romance between Hades and Persephone is just to die for. So if you love Greek mythology retellings, or even if you just want a cute fluffy romance to dive into, definitely check this out. It is so good and it will not disappoint. Speaking of cute romances, the next book that I got from the library, and that book is The Love Hypothesis by Ali Hazelwood. I have seen this book everywhere lately, and honestly I'm really surprised that I got to get it from the library that early. I thought I was going to be on the waiting list for like 10,000 years, but I'm really glad that I got it so fast. I don't know too much about this book besides the fact that it is this kind of like rivals to lovers situation between those two scientists, and I also know that the main character is actually demisexual, which I'm so excited about because it's so rare that we get ace rep in romance. So yeah, that makes me so happy, and I'm definitely very excited to see how it is going to be portrayed in a romance book situation. So definitely this one I'm very pumped to read. I'm probably going to pick this up very soon, also because obviously I have to return it to the library. But yeah, I'm just so hyped about it, and I really hope that it doesn't disappoint, but I don't think it will. I think it's going to be a cute fun time, and I'm really going to enjoy it. I'm kind of on a roll with romance books at this point, so I feel like I'm just going to keep on going. And the next two books that I need to talk about are A Rogue of One's Own and Portrait of a Scotsman by Evie Dunmore. These are book 2 and 3 into this Regency era romance series that I've been loving so much in the last 2 years. I've read Bringing Down the Duke, which is the first book I think in 2019, and then I just had to keep on going because these books are so addictive and they're so fun. Basically, we follow the same group of friends throughout all of the different books, and each book focuses on a different main female character and her love story, and it's just so good. It's so much fun. They're also all part of the suffragette movement, so that's also very interesting. I feel like the historical context in these books is really a part of the story as well, which I really love. I just love these books so much, so I knew that I wanted to have all of them on my shelves because I know I'm gonna want to read them whenever I just want to laugh and have a good time and swoon over very grumpy love interests because they're just such fun books and they make me very happy. And the next 3 books that I want to talk about are all non-fiction books, which is a little bit funny to me because I used to never read non-fiction, and I think that's because I was in school at the time, and now that I'm out of school, I feel like I'm kind of gravitating more towards that genre. So yeah, I have 3 non-fiction books that I got from the library yesterday. The first one is Whose Story Is This? Old Conflicts, New Chapters by Rebecca Solnit. I have read different essays and also an entire book by Rebecca Solnit before, and I really love her writing style, and I really wanted to read this collection of essays in particular because I think that in this one she talks about the way that words and stories shape our society, and obviously she's also talking about the different voices that are being erased and that are not given enough place in that story that we're building around our society, whether it was in the past or in our present. And yeah, I just think that all of those ideas sounds so interesting. It's also very short, so I'm very excited to see how she talks about all of that in such a concise way. But coming from her, I feel like it's definitely possible for her words to have such a big impact. So yeah, I'm really excited to dive into this. Then the next book has a very long title, so I'm going to read it first and then lift it up to show you all. And it is The Madwoman in the Attic, The Woman Writer and the 19th Century Literary Imagination by Andra M. Gilbert and Susan Gubar. I don't know if it's Gilbert or Gilbert, but anyway, It's this massive book. And basically, as the title suggests, I think this is a book about female representation in literature and also the way that female writers were perceived at that time, and also how all of that echoes into the present. And this is just honestly a subject that always fascinates me. I mean, I didn't do a feminist literature master's degree for nothing, but yeah, this is one of those books that I have heard about so many times, and I feel like it's finally time for me to pick it up because I think it's really going to be so interesting. Not gonna lie, I'm a little bit scared by the size of it, but it needs to happen. I'm very, very curious about all of this, and I cannot wait to learn more about that subject. So I'm very excited that I found this at the library yesterday. And then finally, the last nonfiction book of this book haul is Trick Mirror: Reflections on Self-Delusion by Gia Tolentino. I have seen this nonfiction book kind of like everywhere lately as well, so I'm very, very curious about it. I don't know really what it's supposed to be about. So let's read into the flap and find out together. It says, a breakout writer at the New Yorker examines the fractures at the center of contemporary culture with verve, deftness, and intellectual ferocity. For readers who wondered what Susan Sontag would have been like if she had brain damage from the internet. Okay, so from what I can gather, it's going to talk about popular culture and also the influence of internet on how we perceive ourselves, which sounds very interesting, definitely. I'm really, really intrigued about this book, and I can't wait to see if I like it. Then the next book is a fantasy novel that I've picked up recently, and I showed it in a couple of videos, but I hadn't officially hauled it yet. So here we are, and that book is She Who Became the Sun by Shelley Parker Chan. This is a fantasy release that has gotten nothing but raving reviews, and I am so excited to read it. People compare it to The Song of Achilles meet Mulan, which just sounds absolutely interesting to me, and yeah, I'm really, really pumped to read this. I think it's going to break my heart in the best way possible. And in case you don't know about this one, it's a historical fantasy in which we follow our main character Zhu, and one day she goes to this fortune teller with her father and her brother, and the fortune teller tells her brother that he has a beautiful, wonderful, and epic destiny in front of him, and to Zhu she says that there is absolutely nothing in front of her, nothing for her to look forward to, no glory, a complete blank. And then a few days later her brother actually passes away, and Zhu decides to take her brother's destiny into her own hands. And it just sounds so epic and so great, and like I've said, I've heard nothing but good things about this book, so I'm definitely very, very intrigued, and I can't wait to dive into this now that I'm out of my weird little fantasy slump that I was in for a couple of months there. Then the next book that I have is a spooky dark academia novel that I read with the Tea Leaves Book Club, and that book is A Lesson in Vengeance by Victoria Lee. Sadly, I did not enjoyed this book as much as I was hoping to. I love the ambience, I love all of the dark academia vibes, I love the boarding school setting, but the characters and the story kind of fell a little bit flat for me. But this is basically a book in which we follow our main character who goes to this very prestigious boarding school where there were once women who were considered witches, and we follow Felicity 1 year after the tragic passing of her girlfriend, and she is going back to school, but she is also desperately trying to avoid everything that would have to do with those women from the past, until one of the new students at the school, who is also a New York Times best-selling author, asked her to research those witches with her because she wants to talk about them in her new book. And then spooky and weird stuff ensues. Like I said, this one didn't exactly meet all of my expectations, but if that's something that sounds interesting to you, I would definitely give it a try. This next book is another fantasy one that used to catch my eye every single time I would go into a bookstore. It always intrigued me because of the cover, so I decided to check if they had it at my library, and they did, so I got it from there. And that book is Down Comes the Night by Alison Saft, and like, look at this cover. I don't know what it is about this cover, but I love it so much. I hope my light is not like glaring into this. Do you see it? It's just so stunning. I really love it. I don't know why. And once again, I don't exactly know what this one is about, but I kind of want to go into it a little bit blind because it's been so long since I haven't like just looked at a book, loved the cover, and just decided to give it a go without looking at everything that is surrounding it, like reviews and the synopsis and blurbs and all of that. And I think from what I know, from the little that I know, it sounds like a very gothic tale about those two people who are stuck into a crumbling mansion and they hate each other, but they have to work together to save themselves. And that sounds very intriguing, very intense, and just so eerie and weird, and I'm really excited to try this book out and also to just try to read a book without knowing too much about it for once. So that's what I'm gonna do with this one, and we'll see if it pays off or if it's a massive disappointment. I really hope that I enjoy it. And then finally, the last book that I have to share in today's book haul is the latest Louise Penny, The Madness of Crowds. In case you don't know, Louise Penny is one of my favorite authors. She writes those very great mystery novels in which we always follow the same inspector, and they all take place in Quebec, which is very fun for me because I know all of the different places where the story takes place, and it's just always so great to go back to her world and to all of her characters. I love all of them so much. These books feel like home to me, even though they can get pretty dark, and they're all a little bit about murder, and it always sounds weird whenever I say that, but they just bring me so much joy. So yeah, in case you're looking for a great mystery series to read that also has a lot of heart, that is also so surprisingly funny at times, and all of the characters are just absolutely amazing, I would definitely recommend this one. Alright, so that is it for this book haul. I feel like these books really reflect the reading mood that I'm in right now, like a little bit of exploration of nonfiction, a little bit more fantasy now that I'm out of my slump, and it's just so exciting. I really cannot wait to dive into all of those stories, and I really hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, please don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!